Okay, so in some of the other clips on Reality Agriculture, David Wilson is talking about some of the conditions at the present time in France and Britain and giving his views on lamb and milk throughout that area. As he detailed, there's about 5 million hectares of set-aside land which will be coming back into production. Being a fan of The Economist magazine as well, on March 29th this year, they also had a bit of an article about the sorts of land that's available in other countries as well. For example, a large part of the 23 million hectares of arable land which was withdrawn from production since the collapse of the Soviet Union is now able to be brought back into production. And I've talked to some people in Britain who are actually involved in bringing some land back in Poland. British firms involved in both Poland and Russia, looking at some of that 23 plus million hectares of land that could be brought back into food production. But it's mainly due to the government quotas and restrictions that the disruptions have been caused. For example, there's over $100 million worth, that's US dollars worth, of grain were thrown away in the Ukraine because they weren't allowed to be exported earlier on this year. We have export restrictions right at this time actually increasing the price of food. As the prices go up, so the tendency to hoard food also goes up, and this again drives up the price. So there's a few figures in there, 23 million, 5 million hectares of land that could well come back into production to create more food for the world. Let's get this in perspective for New Zealand. There's about 1.3 million hectares of land total used for dairy production in New Zealand. Dairy production in New Zealand constitutes about 3% of world supply. However, we do have a much bigger impact on the world market, probably between 25 and 30%. So we've got 1.3, 1.4 million hectares in dairying, and they're talking of bringing between 28 and 30 million hectares back into food production in Europe, Poland, Soviet Union. Maybe that gets where we are in the world in perspective.